I don't get a lot, God the win. And I don't pay my rent, God the win. There be one for my hand, but God the win. There be one keep my joy, but God the win. I say anything them do, now God the win. No, now God the win. No, now God the win, no. Anything them do, now God the win. No, now God the win. No, now God the win, no. I don't change my name to God the win. I no more, I don't buy more to God the win. They say my market no go sell, but God the win. And then me say I no go blue, but God the win. Them my brother, let them try their luck. My God go win, no my God go win, no my Lord go win, no. Anything I do now God the win, no now God the win, no now God the win, no. As you don't pass exam, now God the win. And then me say you no go pass, but God the win. You wake up, see today last song, now God the win. Robbers they rob, they no see you, brother. They no see you, sister.
Why would they catch you? This one is like a bit sweet.
For our Lord, forgive us our sins and accept our prayer, Lord. Father, we thank you for bringing us together again tonight. Thank you, Lord, for health, protection, provision that you've had for us, Lord. Father, as we gather here tonight, we pray that your mission will be achieved through us, Lord. We pray for that mission that you designated us for as Integrated United Organization. We pray that moving forward, we should be able to accomplish and exceed it, Lord. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Father, we pray for our members that are still on the way. We pray for our guests on the way to get here safely. Father, we commit tonight into your hand, making a memorable day. In Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Amen.
We can all go eat. It's of great importance that we do not overfeed so that we don't sleep off. It's a long night, like I said. And we should slow down on the imbibing so that we can still be all focused through the event. Thank you. Once again, you are all welcome. DJ, please.
Annual Gala for Integrated Nigerians USA. I'm just going to give a little brief synopsis of what we're about and what we try to accomplish. This organization was started in 2017 by a couple of few friends who found the need to unite to form a body, believing that togetherness is strength. A couple of us had some kind of traumatic experience, one way or the other, that you run into when you live in diaspora. It might not be you, it might be a family member, but like he says in the great book, my people suffer for lack of what? Any Christian in the house? My people suffer for what? Okay, so one thing we came to realize in this country is that you are as good as your weakest link, in the sense that if you lack knowledge, you won't be able to harvest the resources and the power of this country. So with all that said, that was how Integrated Nigerians USA was born. And also realizing that this is now home. I think part of the mistakes we all made in the beginning was that we thought we were going to go back to Nigeria. Some of us learned the hard way. Nigeria is now vacation home for most of us, because the third generation or second generations of Africans now, they call their home now. And as most of you know, you can't even go and fight for your property with your younger brother. If you can't fight for it, I don't know what your son or your daughter is going to do. They're not even going. So that's why we need to really invest in where we find ourselves. Like the great song said by Paul Young, he said, wherever I lay my head, that's my home. So this is not home for all of us. So in order for us to capture the benefit of this place, we found the need to come together as friends, family, as Nigerians, realizing where we came from, to form a support system that will further strengthen ourselves, give us the amenities and resources that we need to be a stronger community. Now, one of our greatest goals, even though they don't recognize Nigeria for the positive things we've done, because I was listening to a speech this morning that says in the American community, I think it was about 8% of Nigerians got their PhDs. More Nigerians got PhD than United States citizens in total. So even though we don't get recognized for the beautiful things we've accomplished because our society left us that way, we have to claim that, what is ours. And the only way we can do that is to start changing our identity. Because we've been known for some negative things we're not proud of. But I think the key is we need to make sure that the people coming now, our children growing up, get the right information to ensure that they steer them towards a positive way. That way, as a community, we can be better. So that's one of the goals of Integrated Nigerians USA. Being able to be a resource to the community ourselves, and in the end, try to change the community that we live in to see us as a positive entity and addition to the economy, rather than just being fraudsters, for lack of a better word. So that's why one of our team this year is trying to rebrand the Nigerian culture. Because remember, like they say, I'm a Benin boy. In my language in Benin, I'm going to speak Benin, please. I'll say it in English. Pardon me to do that. So what that means is that if you don't know the village you come from, you don't know where you're going. So we found a need for us to revisit our culture, which made us exceptional from most of the people in the society we live in. That way we can chase a path forward for ourselves. So that's why you see the need for the whole cultural outfit, trying to represent where we come from, honest that beautiful tradition and culture we grew up with. And don't forget, there was a lot of values that was given to us by our parents, whether your grandpa, your grandma, or your daddy or mom. There was a lot of discipline and value that was installed in us. Believe it or not, you might think today you're grown up, but some of those values is embedded in your DNA. It's part of the things that still guide you to today, that guide you towards success. So there's a need for you to pay forward, and that's the reason why we're here today. So Integrated Nigerians is trying to steer the way forward for us to build a greater community that will honor the benefit of this society through our cultural beliefs to make sure we stay in the positive side, and build a beautiful future for our Nigerians in the USA. Thank you.
I want to remind us of the theme of this gala night today. It is revamping the cultural image of Nigeria. We know how tarnished it is and how much a lot of people these days are struggling to see how we can get us back on track. So at this time, I will be calling on the first speaker. Her name is Mrs. Mary Olushoga. She will be speaking to us this evening. She's also a very renowned Nigerian here, and I wish to welcome her.
In New York City, it's a fund that you can apply for. The fund is up to $10 million, and it will provide entrepreneurs of color like yourselves, if you're interested in starting a business, to apply for it. The money is there. So aside from that, I'm also going to be talking about some of the things we look for as people are applying for the fund. And some of you might know about it. There are 4 C's that I like to refer to. The first is character. So character is very important, and when Mr. Clement told me about this speaking engagement, he said, you have to figure out a way to relate it to culture. And oftentimes, you know, when people think about culture, there are positive sides of culture and there are negative sides to culture. Am I correct?
Yep.
Or is everything positive?
No.
Okay. And so if it's anything that you take out of this is that character is always important. As we look at different loan applications to the fund, you know, there are a lot of people who are certainly not straightforward as they apply for the application. So character is very important. The other one is also collateral. As we're all immigrants here in the United States, definitely acquiring collateral is going to be very important as you're looking at, you know, different loan products, different funding products. And collateral is basically things like homes, different assets that you have. And it can certainly enhance your loan application. Collateral is something you can pass on to the next generation, your children, your partners, your wives. So that's also very important as well. The other part that I'd also like to talk about, so there are 4 C's, like I said initially, is credit. Certainly, credit is one of the things that we look at as you consider your loan application. I know that there are a lot of doctors and pharmacists in the room, so if you're looking for financing and funding, as you're hoping to start your, you know, new location, certainly please reach out to me. Credit is also something that we consider and look for as people apply to the loan application. And actually, because it's the Entrepreneur of Color Fund and because it's geared towards a lot of immigrants, we can work with people whose credits are even as low as 600. So it's actually a very flexible loan product. And just to let you know that the product is available to all of you out there. The mothers in the room, the wives in the room, you know, so something to think about. I won't take too long because I know that you are all interested in the food and in connecting with each other. But that's what I wanted to talk about. I would prefer that it be very interactive, so does anyone have any questions for me? Is anyone thinking about starting a business, or does anyone have a business in the room? Just raise your hand. Does anyone have a business? Oh, no one raised their hand. So no one has a business. So everyone's working for someone?
No.
No? Yes? No? Yes?
No.
Okay, how many people have a business? Raise your hand. Oh, 2 people, okay. And the other person is the speaker as well. Okay, well, that's all I have to say, and I promise not to take too long. So if it's anything you take from my conversation today, it's the 4 C's, and that's credit, character, what else? Great job, you're listening. And the last 4 is cash flow. So cash flow is something that we consider, certainly a lot of entrepreneurs in the immigrant communities that we work with don't keep documentation. And documentation is very important because, you know, a lot of people operate cash businesses. And so they underreport their income so that they don't pay taxes, which could come back to bite you because if you're applying for a loan, we have to look at your tax returns. So cash flow is important. Ensure that you have the correct documentation of your business. You know, if you're taking money out, make sure that's been recorded. If you have invoices, if you have receipts, QuickBooks, make sure you set that up. And so those are the 4 C's: collateral, credit, cash flow, and what else? Character. Thank you so much for your time.
Businesses.
Thank you.
In due time, because I know that a lot of people here are looking forward to having their own businesses in this country. We're not going to work for people all our lives. Once again, we thank you, and we hope a flow of people will come to you. Thank you. The next agenda we have will be for us to mingle for a few minutes while we eat. We want to allow the food to flow, to go down your throats. So please make it really quick and enjoy yourself for a few minutes. Once again, thank you.
What up? It's your favorite boy, Techno. #1 exclusive producers. And I'm hanging out with DJ LG. You know how we do it. Keep it 100 by 100 by 100, because we 100%. Let's go. I said, my baby, they give me #1 for the she don't follow my number. She's my only love.
You're listening to the sound of DJ LG. Keep it locked. Now.
Should I? So we said we're going to do an interactive section tonight. Please, man, if you don't mind, please. behind every strong, tall man, waiting patiently is worth knowing what he was waiting for. Everybody agree? Please.
Hi, hello everybody, and my name is Gloria Yutuamo. And oh, you can hear me?
Oh, mon, I don't see live.
Oh. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm Gloria Yutuamo, and I'm so very, very happy to be here with you guys. And of course, this is my husband. And yeah, we're here to have fun with you people, and may this be joyous for us and many more to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, madam. We just want to recognize the president. Thanks for coming. So, the way we're going to do this is, before we go into our key speaker for the night, we're going to bring Miss Mary back to the floor, because she's going to plan our financial future. We just got to show her a little appreciation. Come on, my dear. Come on, my dear. Because you know, without finances, you ain't going nowhere. In America, without credit, you're nobody. America don't recognize your money in the bank. They recognize your credit score. And in the black community, credit score is always what? So Mary is going to take us to the new frontier, to take us to 850 number. Anybody got 850? Yeah, okay. So please, can I have the plaque, please? So we're going to present Miss Mary this plaque for you taking out your time to spend some time with us, plan our future. Hopefully my credit score will be 950.
Above US.
That way I can get 0.00 interest rate. So that when I invest. Okay. So it reads, Integrated USA, present to Miss Mary Olu Shoga, in appreciation of your presence as our keynote speaker in our 2019 Gala. Thank you very much. We appreciate you for coming. Even though we know what we're trying to accomplish, we're going to do it in such a way that we have a good time while we're doing it. So, without further ado, it gives me honor to introduce our main keynote speaker for the night. I don't like to call his last name, I like to see him as my friend. So I just simply call him Dr. Jerry and let him do the rest. So please, everybody, with great standing ovation, can we introduce Dr. Jerry to the floor, please?
And it's a pleasure to be here again. We're getting started with the main subject of the event, and that's revamping Nigerian cultural image. To an average American in the US, what is their opinion about an average Nigerian? Any guess? I know the first one, they say Nigerians are educated. That's number one. Number two, they say Nigerians are smart. It's very common. Then the next point you will hear, oh, they are very hardworking, they're looking for money. Another thing you will hear is that they are very innovative. But there's one thing I haven't mentioned that you may hear about Nigerians. And what would that be? Any guess? Something not positive. All right. So we all know that there's a misconception, a general conception that we are engaged more in fraud, credit card, bank fraud, internet fraud. But what I would say today is that don't let the negative image shine. We have to shine the positive images. If you look at the universities in the United States, look at the most educated people in the United States, black, white, compare the ratio to the number of people, college graduates. You see Nigeria stands out. Do you see that on TV? That's not something that they portray. You remember what happened to the Empire State in Chicago? What did they call Nigerian brothers? What image was that supposed to be? These children, these guys, they were born, raised in the United States. They are American citizens. You don't label them because it's something with a negative connotation. Oh, the two Nigerian brothers. I believe you guys remember that. I wrote the embassy. I spoke to my council person where my office is. And they wrote everything. This guy got a visa, came here. He came here with a visa. Then probably about 2 years later, I started getting calls that I owe some money. Owe some money where? Then I tried to run my financial advisor told me, let's run your credit report, see what's going on. I was getting many calls from different places. I also some money, I took out some loan, I took out this. Then we ran the credit, I saw a lot of stuff that doesn't belong to me. The only thing I would say is that I'm fortunate. I was able to afford a private investigator. And I paid a lot of money. And the private investigator went in and they traced it to this guy that I helped into this country. With all those documents I sent to the person back home to obtain the visa, I didn't know he saved everything. And he used them when he came here. I don't know what happened. He started applying for loan and he took out big money, big money. So what I'm trying to say is that image, we have to try to change it. There are many consequences that may go with this that you may not even realize. One, this guy cannot get a good job now because that's their record. I just didn't let it go. I pushed out. This guy is scared if he leaves the country now. He's scared if he's coming back, maybe they may not allow him in. He's scared. Then what else can I do? So what I'm trying to say today, that is not the right way to go. There are many positive things we can do. Like we know, Nigerians, we have a lot of innovations. We are smart, it's there. And I will ask today, it's a general opinion, ideas, dreams to change any country. Where do you think those ideas and dreams where would you find them? I just can take a guess. Where? In the graveyard. That's the best answer. That's called the technology, science. Israel, because of ideas, innovations, dream to change this world. You will find them in the graveyard. That's the right answer. Who gave that answer? That's it. It's a graveyard. So what I'm trying to say today is that we have many smart Nigerians. Ideas. What I would advise, whatever comes to your brain, it may come, you waking up in the morning, something just came to your mind, write it. It happens. You may be sitting, thinking about something crosses your mind, write it. And when you write it, try to develop a plan for what you wrote. And when you write that plan, now it's time to plan how to execute it. Talking to people, you may talk to people that will tell you, oh, this is not going to work, oh, that's not going to work. Listen to them because they give you constructive criticism. And that constructive criticism, you can use it to make positives. There are many negative people out there. Some of them are saying that just because they don't want you to get to the next level. But what I would say is that no matter what they say positive, listen to the positive, because there are some people we call yes, my people. Whatever you say, they say yes, ma'am. So listen to them. You have to think carefully if that's the right thing for you to do. I am here today. I came to the United States with $100 from Nigeria. When I got to the airport, I used some money to eat and all of that. When I took a taxi to where I finally stayed, taxi was expensive. Eating airport food was expensive. And imagine coming from Nigeria with just $100. I was left with $35. That what I would say today is not by my power, it's by God's power and imagination. I think I'm very successful. I would say that. It's not by fraud, it's by effort. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. It's $35, but I'm a multi-millionaire today. And I'm proud of that. I'm not scared of the FBI. I don't go home sleeping and saying, oh, maybe They're going to come knock on my door? No. Because it's a planned phase. I worked as a security guard. I worked as a taxi driver. I was going to school. So all these things is phases in life. You cannot wake up one day, somebody say, oh, give me $100, I will give you 200 in 2 hours. How is that going to happen? And some people fall for that. Some people fall for it. Oh, just give me $100 tomorrow morning, come out, give you $200. How would you fall for that? Are you stupid? You know, so sometimes we have ridiculous stories, and you'll be wondering, how are these people able to, how are they able to do this? You have to use your brain. It's very important. You have to use your brain. Just like when I completed medical education, as a medical doctor, I wanted to serve my community. I went to my community, these people offering this money, they are Jewish people. And they're in the black community. They don't work there. But they employ people to work there. So I thought about it. These are doctors like me. So how can I set up something where I don't have to work for this person? And that thought started coming in. If this guy is able to hire me and pay me over $200,000 a year, that means what he's getting from my head, me working there, and he's not there, it's probably 3 times, 4 times what, you know, what I'm putting in, my productivity. So I started thinking, he's not a genius. He doesn't have 8 heads. He's just a regular guy. He went to medical school, I went to medical school. So how am I going to make a difference where I own work for him? And that's how the idea started coming. And I started making inquiries. Making inquiries, 1, 2, 1 and 2. It's hard at the beginning, I would say. It's not easy. There are many obstacles. But one thing I would say is that fear is one of your biggest obstacles. Not what you know, but fear of what you know is one of your biggest obstacles. Your ability to start conquering that is one part to success. You will fall. It's not always rosy. You will fall, but your ability to get up and walk is what matters. Very important. And you will come across where you'll be like, am I doing the right thing? When you hear stuff, when that comes to your mind, am I doing the right thing? Believe in yourself. There is something they call zeal. Zeal, if you look up what zeal is, zeal cannot be purchased with money. You may have a lot of money, set up business, do that, do this, employ people. If you, as the owner, don't have the zeal, it's not going to succeed. Look up what zeal means. Zeal is not something you say, oh, I just want to push this. Zeal comes from inner being, not your outside. That's what zeal means. And when you get started, you will always have that feeling, like I said, am I going to succeed? But that fear is one of your obstacles to success, ladies and gentlemen. And let's see. All right, I was thinking about innovation. You know Uber. The guy that came up with Uber, was he ever a taxi driver? Never drove a taxi. I hope you guys know that. The guy that came up with Uber never drove a taxi in his life. It's just an idea that came across, that ran through, and he was able to transform that idea from one stage to the other stage. So that's why I'm advising brothers and sisters, you can do it. Ideas comes, don't let it go to the grave. Push it out. Push it out. Sometimes you may not be able to execute it, but you may be able to sell it to people that would be able to execute it. Very important. The other time, you know, Facebook, all of that, you know, Microsoft, all of that, stories, you know, so I don't need to go into all those stories. There was this guy that came from Nigeria. He came in for medical treatment, and he decided to stay. Question I asked him, he's a young man. Okay, what were you doing in Nigeria? He said he was a healer. He used to heal people. Okay, from medical problem, yeah. Then we were talking. Then he told me later that he has the power. If he goes out there, if it's dry, he can bring the rain down. Oh, but we are laughing, but you guys know it can happen, right? All right. Then I asked him, you are in America now, you can be a billionaire next week. He said, how? I said, go to California, go to the fire department. Go demonstrate that. If you demonstrate it, get a patent before you demonstrate it. Don't just go there and show them and bring the rain. Go get a lawyer, get a patent. When you have that patent, show them when they have that California fire that you can save them millions and you'll be a billionaire. That's an idea, but he was like, I'm like, it's just an idea. What you know how to do, go do it and patent it. Ladies and gentlemen, are you with me? So they will promote you, and you will see promoters. I don't know if any one of you here knows what buratashi is. Does it sound familiar? Does it sound familiar, buratashi? All right. I know some people may not know what it is, but those of us from way back, we know what buratachi is. One question I will ask, there is a medication we call Viagra. You guys know that? Okay. You know how long Viagra has been in the market? That was one of the men's, enhancement medication that came into the system that was generally agreed on. What about buratashi? You guys know how many years that has been how many years it's been used in Nigeria? It's been used for many years. It's not only buratashi. We have kankai where you put those roots. And those roots, they take it before they meet their wife, they start having many, many children. We can relate to that, But those stuff, there's a method to that madness. It's not something that they just put, but the problem is somebody transforming that, what is going on there, to real life situation. These are innovations. Buratachi, many years. Viagra just came out of it. We have a pharmacist here. Where is the pharmacist? Where is the pharmacist? Where is he? Pharmacist? Oh, okay. So he's going to tell us how many years Viagra has been in the market. Viagra just came off what we call a label. I mean, not label, it just came off brand. So now we have generic, which is very cheap. What I'm trying to get at is that it's been in the market for probably a little over 10 years. But what we use in Africa has been there ages. Transformation, ideas is something that is important to think about, ladies and gentlemen. It's easy to become a billionaire in the US, but the problem is the idea to transform, because many people see many obstacles along the line. All right, another thing I would like to say about revamping Nigerian cultural image. Many of us know, you speak with accent. What is accent? That's what you will ask. What is accent? Accent, if you're an American, you go to Nigeria, you have an accent. If you come from Europe, England, you come to the US, you have an accent. So that they are good accent and they are bad accent. I know that's what we're going to talk about, One thing I would say is this. Having an accent doesn't mean you are stupid. Having an accent doesn't make you inferior. Having an accent doesn't make you isolated or less than better than any other person. I would say when I was in medical training, the first time I started medical training was when it came to me that I have to be proud of my accent. We were in a class of about 240 people. I believe I said this last year. That first day of class, man, everybody there, we are only a few black people, about 4 of us out of 240 something, about 4 of us. And I happen to be the Nigerian with the accent. So the way they grade in schools, in those training, they grade based on what we call a bell curve. That means whoever scores the highest, the group that scores the highest is considered A. It doesn't mean you have to have 100 or 90 to be A. So it starts from the highest. So they put it what we call a bell curve. I was with these guys, 240 something. I'm one of those that came from like a poor home here in the US. I don't know brother, no sister, nothing. I was just by myself. Most of them, their parents were doctors. Most of them parents were rich and all of that. Most of my colleagues, in training. When in the class, they say, oh, they just give us any topic. When they reach out, they start talking. With American, accent, talking. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to take an exam with these people. So I was like, oh man. Then they take us into small groups where we discussion, small discussion groups. And in the discussion groups, I sit down there because when they are talking, man, their language is a little different from what I speak. But the thing is that I knew that I never failed any exam in my life. I knew that. So that I don't know if I would say confidence, but I was still a little shaky. But the time we took the first exam, and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to, and we went to the board, and I saw my name there among the top 5. Then that's when I knew all the talk does not mean anything. It does not mean a shit. Let me put it that way. It's just talk. So you have to believe in yourself. Accent is nothing. Yeah. That's a good part of the accent. There is a bad part of the accent too. I know most of you will ask me, what's the bad part having an accent? That's a good question that I know most people would want to ask me. The bad part having an accent is this. I will give you an example. Maybe we can relate to that, some of us. When I came to the United States the first time, I didn't have a green card, but I had to get a job. And somebody told me how to get an ID to get a job. Okay, I got an ID. I went to a place, security guard, they gave me a job. And the first place they sent me to was in front of a supermarket, night shift, Walbams, the old Walbams. I was standing in front, night shift, and they asked me, what's your name? I said, Michelle. What's your name, sir? Michelle. They burst into laughter. Like, why are they laughing? Then they call the other people there, what's your name? Security, what's your name? I said, Michelle. That's when I didn't know what was happening. I don't know if that was due to my accent. That's when somebody took me to the corner. Your name is Mitchell, not Michelle. But that was the name of the idea. I couldn't pronounce it. I was saying Michelle, because Michelle is the name I can pronounce easily. But it's not Michelle. Michelle is a woman, not a man. So that's the bad part of an accent. Another bad part of an accent, I would say to our people, revamping our cultural image, is that very important, very, very important language. Back home, we can speak very good English. Then when we come here, we want to speak with an accent. And where you at? 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 Yeah, there. So sometimes, I don't know if I should call that accent, or if I should call that just a copycat. I don't know. Then the next thing, oh, mahaha. You go, mahaha? I used to say that too when I just came, because I was still in the, I was in mixed up, that's mahaha. Where you go, mahaha? You go, mahaha? All right, are we bored? Are we bored? All right, so one thing I would say, when you go out to the corporate world, She can attest to it. When you speak that language, automatically they will eliminate you. Right part of your vocabulary is going to be hard to remove. And then that puts you at a very disadvantaged start from the beginning. So that's one important thing I would like to say. Another issue that affects our people that I would like to address, it may not mean anything to many people, but it does matter a lot, is life insurance. Very important. I've seen people, they died, their wives left with nothing, and they want to bury them in Africa. How are you going to carry this man to Africa where he didn't take no life insurance? The wife going to go for me, go do this, go do that, and no life insurance? The child that is there left with nothing. And you want this child that never been to Africa to get on a plane and go to Africa? Who are building those? These are the Jewish. You don't see black people building. Why do you think that's happening? Because all of us did not start from the same level. Some of them, their parents died, left life insurance million, 2 million. So you just started from the same footing with them. So ladies and gentlemen, let this be part of our culture. If you think it's expensive, talk to someone about term life insurance. That's the cheapest. You don't want people you leave behind to go through where they have to borrow money to bury you. And you write a will, take me to Africa when I die. Take me to Africa, you didn't leave no money. You don't know how much it costs to carry a corpse to Africa. But you right here, we take me to any time I die. Don't bury me in this country. Don't bury me in this country. Take me to where I come from. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have to be considerate to the people we live in life. It's not unlike we that came here and started from scratch. Another thing I would say is, I've come across people come to my office and they ask me, oh, doctor, these are Nigerians. Doctor, I want to marry, but they look for a nurse. I'm like, you they work for us, help me find nurse. Ladies and gentlemen, when I listen to that, should I be laughing? I can't laugh. It's a professional environment. I can laugh. The only thing I only tell them, you should not marry the degree. Marry somebody you will wake up in the morning and be happy. Degree, nursing is not what's going to make you happy. Nurse not going to make you happy. She's going to be busy working. And you're going to be home sitting, babysitting. You can't see how you're going to be happy. So happiness does not come from marrying a nurse. To the nurses out here, I don't have anything against you. We're all in the same profession, but I'm just saying the guys that are coming, look for nurse for me. You want to wake up and hold her hand, this is my wife, be proud. Even if she doesn't have anything, if she respects you, you respect her. And both of you, when you blink your eyes, she knows what you're talking about. Not when you blink your eyes, she's bringing a syringe like taking a patient that is crazy. You're not crazy. So that's something we have to really look into. Then another thing in our community that I would like to talk about is, this may be touching, but I would say the trend of things now, mostly our female, many of them are into a profession. They want, going into a different profession. It's not something that is normal, but it's something that is happening that I would suggest. There is something they call freeze your egg. If you know you're not getting married early, freeze your egg. It's not expensive. It's important, but it's not a taboo. Our culture does not stop you from doing that. As an African, I'm a doctor, I would advise you, there is nothing wrong in doing that. If you're going to marry later, or you want to have baby later, freeze your egg. You have fibroid, you're going for fibroid surgery, and they tell you, oh, we're just going to remove only a little piece. Okay, that's fine, but freeze your egg before you go remove a little piece. Because a little piece may be in a big piece. And if any mistake, it may be a different story. So freeze. Very important. Look into it. Most people don't look into it. So I would say, look into it. Are we bored now? come to my own profession now, which is medicine. My advice in medicine is that I've come across people, they're going to have surgery. And they come to me. I'm going to have surgery. I need clearance. All right, so what type of surgery? And they said they're just going to cut one side. What are they cutting? Oh, they said they'll just remove this. Ladies and gentlemen, I've trained with my colleagues. And during my training, as a minority, I was very touched. Now, most of us don't ask questions. Somebody like that come in and say, okay, did they sit down and explain? No, and they said they just record. So you must ask, doctor. Our counterparts, the Jewish, the white, they ask. But our people, I feel bad they don't ask. Somebody come into my office, don't even know what they're going to do. Did you ask him how many of these surgery he does every month? I didn't ask him. Did you ask him if this is the only thing he does? They don't ask. Okay, have you asked him how many complications within the past 1 year that he has had for this procedure? They didn't ask. How long is the surgery going to take? I don't know. Are they going to put you to sleep? They're going to put a tube? I don't know. They just want to operate. I pick up my phone. I call the doctor, surgeon on the cell phone. What happened? You didn't tell this guy what he's going to do? Oh, we just gave him the paper. He didn't want to listen. And when I'm doing that, put that doctor on the speakerphone. Just for the patient to understand they're right. That's what's going on. And I tell them, go back, sit down, ask questions. Very important. And I feel deeper when I see people like that. Brookdale Hospital. Who's doing it? Oh, it's Brookdale Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, hospital is not a surgeon. Hospital is a hospital. If you are doing a procedure that is not urgent or that is not emergent, get the doctor that is doing it. That's who you should be dealing with. That's the doctor that will take you into the hospital. Hospital is not a surgeon. If an hospital is doing your procedure, that means you're giving opportunity for people that are learning to learn, because you don't have any doctor, that you don't have a name attached to your procedure. Because that's how we learn. If we don't learn that way, how are we going to learn? Before you graduate or before you complete the training, you must show that you've done this surgery how many times while in training, before you can do it when you finish. And where do you get those type of patients? Are people that don't even know what's going on with the system. So ladies and gentlemen, anytime you have to have a procedure, have a name of the doctor. Talk to the doctor will know you're serious. They don't play then. Very, very important. Another thing is, if you have any medical problem and it's not urgent, try to avoid July. July is a bad time to go to the hospital. You guys know why, right? That's when the residents, the new kids on the block, that's when we come in to start, July 1st. That whole month of July, I remember back then, they just throw you in until you see the patients. That's how you're going to learn. The patient wouldn't know that you're not, you just learning, you just started. And most of the time, sometimes you don't even know what's going on. But you have to pretend like you know what's going on. But that happens in July. So anything like that, avoid July. It's not a good time to be in the hospital if you don't have to. The last part I would like to talk about, which is very touchy and it's painful. When I think back to that, sometimes I think about my profession. It's painful. There is, what I would say is that try as much as possible, take advantage of the medical technology here. Most people don't. I had a patient that was diabetic. I'm not saying every diabetic will go through something like this. This patient had diabetic. I knew this patient almost 9-10 years ago when the patient came to me. The diabetic was really bad then. And I told this patient, we got to put this under control. But the thing is that she didn't want medication. She didn't believe in medication. And she believed in something that if you take bitter, something bitter, that's going to cure the diabetic. I try to explain to this patient that it's not bitter things that will take care of your diabetic. As a doctor, I understand the pathophysiology. I know what is going on inside of you by looking at your blood. I begged this patient to take medication. It was really bad. She kept saying, no, she's taking bitter stuff from Africa. She kept taking the bitter stuff. We kept monitoring the blood. Everything was going bad over the years. But the problem is that it got to a point where the kidney was shutting down. And I'm looking at this. It's so painful. I know what can take care of this. But this patient is so relying on this bitter stuff coming from Africa. How would you feel in my position? The husband comes in with her, but she does not want me to talk to the husband. So I cannot tell anybody in the family what's going on here. But I'm seeing the numbers. This patient can die anytime. But there is a belief that, oh, bitter stuff. One thing I would like to say is that anyone knows the history of the first bicycle that came to Benin? There is a history to it. All right, the first bicycle that came to Benin, after they rode the bike, nighttime, they tie it to a tree. Why did they tie it to a tree? So the bicycle doesn't run. Why do they think the bicycle is going to run? Because when you ride a bike, you don't understand the technology. You don't understand what is happening. So you tie it to the tree so it doesn't run away on its own. That's how medicine is. When you see things like this, and you see things changing, it's so painful because you know you can save this life. And I knew she was going to die. I kept looking, and she died. And the most painful part of my part was that I knew exactly what we can do, what we would have been able to do to reverse the course. I couldn't speak to a husband. I couldn't speak to a family member. Nobody. It's just me. So that was so painful. So what I'm getting at is this. Till today, when I think back, I keep asking myself, what should I have done differently? It's so painful. I couldn't go to the funeral. So the bottom line is that as a Nigerian here in this country, take advantage of the medical technology. It's here. It's within the fingertips. Don't ignore advice. Don't. You can give your opinion, but don't ignore. Because when we take the blood, as little as those blood may look, that blood, we can see many things inside your body, many. And we can look at things happening prior, things that's going to happen. We can put you into a risk category and know what to do to prevent that. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to be here, and we will be having more of this in the future.
Dr. Jerry, if you don't mind, can you stand for a second, a few more minutes, please? I know we've taken your time. Do you guys feel more healthy now? Yes. You want me to give him if you're not healthy, I'll just give him back the mic. Thank you very much. Please, Miss Dwebo, can you join us, please? I was talking, I'm Nigerian. Normally, the men just go ahead and do what they got to do. So I'm learning that you got to bring the woman beside you, you know how it goes. First of all, thank you for gracing our occasion. Can I have all the members of Integrated, please? All integrated members to the floor, please. All the active members. All the members, to be politically correct. All the members, please, to the floor. All the members of Integrated, please. Make it real quick. So I'm going to say the family of Uduewo, because it's not just Dr. Jerry here now, it's a family over here now. It's been a pleasure to be part of your family. For the past 1 year, I know what we've enjoyed. So by the power invested in me, by all these, some I'm taller than, some I'm shorter than, some I'm stronger than, some I'm fatter, skinny, whichever way. With all due respect, sir, we would like to honor you to be the first patron of the Great Nigerian USA. We're here today having a good time. It just didn't happen because manners fall from heaven. Manners don't fall no more. God used people to bless people. So we're going to recognize one man today that went beyond the call of duty to make today happen. Mr. Clement, on behalf of Integrated Nigerians, want to appreciate you for all you did to make today a success. Well, I like action. I like putting people on the spot. But before we go to the main event of the night, I would like to recognize somebody, a man that knows beyond every other man here. Most of us call him a pa. For those that don't know him, you call him uncle. Please, Pa, Mr. Omori, can you stand up for recognition, please? That's the man that knows more than, all of us more than anybody else here. He saw us growing up in our 20s before we became daddy. You know what I mean? Uncle, it's always a pleasure. So, the Lord said, all work and no play make you what? I like putting people on the spot though. Can we have the Dwell family to open the floor for us, please? Are you guys excited for that? LG, let's go. Dance. Let's make it happen.
I like it when you dance. Baby, can you think I do so? Baby, can your body body? Up in tempo. I like it when you dance. When you wind up, when you get control. Baby, you're coming. Body down the low. Baby, you're shocking. Your body want to do. Baby, you're coming. Body down the low. That's what music. That's what music. That's what music.
Bye bye to your boyfriend. About to shapra, bye bye to your boyfriend. Your regular issue is like an play a punch in my magic album. I'm going to buy this DJ music team. Giacomo, Giacomo,
I wonder if she can tell I'm hard right now. Yeah.
Say you body enticing, you making me want it. When you gonna give it up to me?
gonna give it up to me. My girl come flip like a flipper gram, flip like a flipper gram. Yeah, you want to flip like a flipper gram, flip like a flipper gram, flip like a flipper gram. Left girl wind up on my body, girl. Why like it's a carnival? Girl, girl, I is so emotional. So wind up on my body, girl. Me while you
one where they can say. Now we don't go to Accra. We are mommy and water. Now we don't go to water. Family is like we don't get water. Chop. That's the thing for you. I make them know I guess I don't know. And you do that to your
Nothing I can't do.
time, hey, dirty time, whoa. Offering time, go there, blessing time, dirty time, hey, blessing.
Wanna make love on the moon, dancing to my tunes, easy to my